Baby. The Eagles kept the main thing, and came out of Kansas City with a gritty win on Sunday. The Birds are now 2-0, the only 2-0 team in the NFC East. And I am proud of the team for going in and fighting the way they did, looking as strong as they did on defense. And even if the offensive performance wasn't great, they found a way to win. And that's kind of the hallmark of this Eagles team. However you want to play the game, the Eagles can do it a little bit better than you. And while they're figuring some things out on both sides of the ball, they're banking W's and creating room already in the conference and the division. September is basically the preseason. We've talked about that. It's been said over and over by a number of people. The preseason doesn't exist anymore. This is where they're working out the kinks. So if the first 3 to 4 games are just spent working out those kinks and they're still able to build these leads and bank these W's, I can't think of a better thing for this team to just keep rolling, to just not have even suffered a loss since what? I mean, truly, week 4 a year ago, but it was, there's the commies game in there, but really, this team just finds a way to win every single week, and that's beautiful. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to Philadelphia Live from the Xfinity Lounge. My name is Bill Matz, and I am your director of fun and games for the afternoon. We have a couple of headlines to kick things off today. Of course, the Eagles win, and the rest of the division loses, sort of. More on that later, but I honestly think we can call them all losses. We have the Phillies clinching a playoff spot on Sunday as well. Despite a loss, they have clinched the playoffs, and now the magic number to win the division remains 1, and they're looking to pick that up against the Dodgers. I like their chances. And finally, the Flyers made a trade, and you can hear all about it right here on the PHLY YouTube page. Check it out under the Flyers tab. Charlie and I did an emergency show on it yesterday morning. The Flyers broke the Sunday truce. I was offended personally that we had to do a show on a football Sunday, but check it out. They traded Ivan Fedotov to the Columbus Blue Jackets, got a 6th round pick back, and it may actually have a few more implications than you're thinking. So check it out right here, PHLY YouTube page. But now it's time to talk some tush push. It is time to talk some tush push, Tyler, because I love how much everybody hates this play. I love all of the whining and crying that is going on right now. I mean, we have Dean Blandino, we have Terry Bradshaw, we have Adam Schefter, we have some Barstool Twitter account, everybody talking about how unfair the play is, about how bad it is, about how it's not being officiated correctly. And Tyler, I've been telling you, I need the Eagles to become not just champions, not just the best team in the league, but the most hated team in the league. And we are well on our way, my friend.
Yeah, you fully are ready for this team to embrace their WWE heel role. It really doesn't impact me in a way that I think it does anything more than like it is kind of funny to be this team, because I can think of those teams over my life. I think about the Patriots. I think about the Golden State Warriors, right? I think about the Yankees of the 2000s. And I mean, there is a chance because one is not enough to beat that team.
No.
Two, you start to get into the conversation. When you talk about 4 appearances in like an 8-year span, which I guess they're in their third, they've had 3 now in a 6-year span. They're kind of getting close. You start to become that team a little bit. And I think the thing you said at the beginning of the show was really, really important. No matter how you want to play this team, no matter what your strength is, for the most part, this team just does it a little bit better. They're built in a way to just do it a little bit better.
Yeah, and that's like yesterday was not a well-played game offensively. It was a conservative game. Just a lot of, I thought, plays left on the field. But ultimately, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you bank that W, and there you have it. You see 101 passing yards, 3.5 yards a carry on the ground. They do have a couple of touchdowns. Saquon got loose for the one. They have a tush push for the other. 5 of 14 on third down, like 216 total yards, and they win. They win against Patrick Mahomes with 216 yards of offense. Like, that's not a great day, but the hallmark of this team is simply winning. It's not doing it any single way. It's just getting it done. But this tush push, we are fully back in what I thought was an over conversation, at least for now, because like it didn't get banned. It's here. It's going to get banned this offseason without a doubt. So enjoy it while we have it. But I am really, really enjoying this. We have Adam Schefter on TV today. Adam Schefter is a journalist, an information provider, a middleman from agents and the league to the fans. And here he is on TV going, this game wasn't won on Sunday. This game was won in March when they didn't ban the tush push. As if the tush push is responsible for Travis Kelce basically handing Drew Makuba an interception. As if the tush push is responsible for Jake Elliott hitting 250-pluses and Harrison Butker missing one. Like, as if the tush push is the sole reason that game was won. Like, oh yeah. They've beaten the Chiefs 3 times in a row, including a blowout in the Super Bowl. But no, it was the tush push that won this game. It's just very, very funny to me that all of a sudden there's oh well, look at the guards. They false start every time. The center is lined up over the ball. This is a problem with your officials. This is not an Eagles problem. Like, regardless of what play is being run, the officials should see if, like, the center or the guards move early. Okay, the ball hasn't moved, but they did. That's a false start. Throw a flag. They should also see when the defense is lined up off sides, which happens on every single one, but no one's talking about that because why would you do that when you can just be mad at the Eagles because they've perfected a play? But I'm very much enjoying this. The rhetoric around it, though, it's like this is a problem with everything but the play. The play isn't the problem. It's your incompetent officials that we see every single week, how bad they are, and this play just kind of it's so in focus that, oh, look, they mess up there's penalties on every single play that get let go. The A.J. Brown, I guess they're calling that a deflected ball yesterday, even though it wasn't the ball that got hit, it was his arm. Like, I didn't know that was, regardless. Because the officials are bad, they're going to have to take away a play, it seems to be the argument now. Well, they can't officiate it. Get guys who can. Maybe guys who aren't 150 years old and can actually see. Like maybe athletes who can keep up with the best athletes in the world. These are just thoughts I'm having.
The Chiefs' leading rusher yesterday, do you know who it was? It's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
7 for 66. The other 3 guys, they're actual ball carriers. They're running backs combined. Yeah. 19 carries for 54 yards. Outside of Tyquan Thornton's 49-yard touchdown reception, the remainder of the receiving corps, Travis Kelce, 4 for 60. Thornton would have been 1 for 10. Hollywood Brown, 5 for 30. Everybody else, 1 catch or less. 4 of the 5 guys that had 1 catch, less than 10 yards. If you want to talk about why the Chiefs lost this game, it was because of the fact that their offense was even more inefficient than the Eagles' offense. Because I think you and I can both sit here today and say, Eagles' offense wasn't very efficient. It stumbled for most of the game. You saw it in those stats, 212 total yards. is not a winning formula offensively more times than not. But the defense was good. I thought Zadarius Smith was flying to the football yesterday.
Was.
Drew Makuba gets his first career interception. And I think the reality of this conversation is, do the Eagles start with the perception of 1st and 9 more times than not? Sure, they probably do. But why can't the rest of the league use it? And we're back to that conversation. You have to have a combination of a good, strong offensive line and a strong quarterback. And how many teams in the league have that combination? It's probably 3 or 4. Because I think about the Lions, really good offensive line. Jared Goff ain't running that play.
Jared Goff is like, he's got arms like spaghetti.
You know who should run that play effectively? Sean McDermott's team. Sean McDermott voted against that play. So I'm sorry, but like, you want to say that you lost this game in March? That's just like being a shill for the NFL. Like they lost this game because their offense stunk.
Yeah, and that's really what it comes down to. And I want to talk about the Eagles' defensive effort and what they've done these first 2 weeks. But first, we got to take a commercial break. All right, sports fans, listen up. September's here, football's back, school's in, and it's the perfect time to get your finances back in shape too. I've been checking in on my credit score lately, and let me tell you, if you're a member at TrueMark Financial Credit Union, you've already got a serious edge. They've got this free tool called Savvy Money right inside their online banking and mobile app. I use it myself, and seriously, it's like having your own financial coach right in your pocket. You can check your credit card, you can check your credit score anytime without taking a hit and get tips on how to improve it and even get alerts if anything changes. That's what I call playing smart defense with your money, speaking of defense. So if you're already on Team TrueMark, fire up that app and check out Savvy Money today. And if you're not a member yet, what are you waiting for? Step up your financial game, swing by one of their 24 branches, or visit TrueMark.com/PHLY to open an account today. TrueMark Financial Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA.
All right, you're hanging out with your buddies. It's football weekend, right? College football, pro football all weekend long, and your friend says, come on over, let's watch some games. But the setup, it's a mess. Lagging, buffering, switching between apps, trying to find the game. Your buddy claims he's a big fan, but you feel like you've been fan-fished. That's why, see, if you call yourself a football fan, you have to get Xfinity. It is the ultimate sports destination where you can find all of the best games, your favorite teams, all in one place, and the way that you watch becomes next level. It becomes the perfect fan flex. You get all of the action right in your living room. Combine that with Xfinity's best picture and their sound enhanced in 4K. It is so clear, it's going to feel like you are at the stadium yourself. Sometimes you want to watch 4 games at once. You go quad box because why not, right? You can do it. It's part of the package. You just go ahead and do it. On top of that, you get real-time notification and live stats right on your TV. It is the best seat in the house every single time. So next game, make sure that the big fan in your life isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that.
I love those transitions. They're so cool. I do want to talk a little defense now, Tyler, because, listen, we'll get to the offense, and there's some things that are a little concerning. Banking W's is what matters, but, you know, they're not going to get away with what they're doing on offense for the rest of the season. I think we can all, agree that it's not good enough right now. All right. But the defense, I said last week, with all the turnover, and we know all the names, BG retiring, Sweat leaving, they lost so many guys, Milton Williams, Slay. It was going to maybe be a little bit of a work in progress, but I very much believe that Vic Fangio will have these guys rolling by October, November, when the fall gets here and the games really start to matter. They've got some holes, and I'm hoping Howie is still in the market for another pass rusher, hoping he's still in the market for a cornerback at some point. That would be really nice. But they did just hold Kansas City to under 300 total yards, stopped them on 8 of 12 third downs. They capitalized on the game's only turnover. Was it a little bit fortunate? Sure, but sometimes that's what turnovers are, and you have to take advantage. When you let those plays go, that's when momentum swings, but they were able to hold on to it. Makuba gets the return. They're getting contributions from rookies again. Makuba, yeah, he made some mistakes yesterday, but an interception that basically won them the game and half of a sack, that's a hell of a second game of an NFL career, I'd say. And his post-game quote, really funny. I was trying to score, but I got caught by some O-lineman. like very disappointed in himself that he couldn't take it to the house.
You didn't just get caught; you got popped.
Yeah, it was a shame. It's like he thought he could just outrun him, and if he just makes a little hesitation move or something, the guy is 3 feet out of bounds and he just walks into the end zone. But whatever.
Wow.
The Eagles defense has closed games so strong the first 2 weeks. They shut out Dallas entirely in the second half in week 1, and they keep KC off the board the entire third. They allow a touchdown on the 5th and final possession of the second half. But, I mean, it's hard to ask for much more from this defense, especially right now when, all right, offense isn't really clicking. We're integrating some new guys. We don't really know every spot in the defense as solidly as we want to. Jahad Campbell is a rookie. Makuba is a rookie. We've lost some veterans. We've lost some leadership. And we had to go through week 1 without our best defensive player because he spit on the opposing quarterback before he played a snap. And yet, they're still getting the job done right now. And I got to give it to Vic Fangio. I mean, yes, they have some good players. But I wouldn't say this defense is as loaded as it was last year. But they're every bit as good. They picked up right where they left off.
Yeah, I think opportunistic is the word that I would use because of that interception play, right? They made the one extra play that needed to be made. They are 6th in the league in completion percentage against this year. They're 2nd in quarterback ratings. They've only given up 16 first downs, which is good for tied for 6th, somewhere in that range. A couple teams ahead of them, the Bills, the Texans, the Vikings, 13 and 15. They have given up. The one thing I will say, they have given up some chunk plays. They've given up 5 plays of 20 yards or more. Which is unlike them last year.
Their whole existence is we just don't do that.
But
I do kind of chalk that up to, yeah, man, one missed assignment. Like, sure. The quarterback goes, finally, we can do this.
Well, I mean, you look at the big touchdown play to Tyquan Thornton yesterday. It was a play where if that play gets run 100 times, Quinyon Mitchell probably is the beneficiary of a productive play way more than he's not. I mean, when that ball got thrown, I went, well, I wonder who was in Quinyon. Whoa, that's surprising. He got beat. He got beat by a burner down the field.
Every now and then you get beat, and earlier on that drive, he makes a great play to come across the field and swat the ball down. Sometimes you get beat. I assume 50% of the time or more, he's breaking that up.
Yeah, you're getting at least a PBU out of that.
Didn't quite get there this time. It happens, but that's the only points they've surrendered in the second half, and it's their shutdown corner happened to get beat one time. That's not going to happen a ton. So, like, the one touchdown they've given up is a play that I go, yes. Sometimes Mahomes gets you. You know, that's just what's going to happen. It happened in the Super Bowl. Luckily, way too late for it to really matter. But the defense has been super freaking impressive, and I got to believe, just thinking about the dudes they've added, like you said, Zadarius Smith was all over the place yesterday. It's his first game of the season. They have a couple of rookies working their way in. They're still looking to kind of make up for some of the losses and figure out who's going to be the guy that steps up. This is just the start for the defense, and they are off to an excellent first 2 weeks. It's going to be hard to be the number 1 defense again. Like, that's very difficult to do multiple years in a row, especially with turnover luck and all the different ways that things just kind of, like, you know, doesn't always go the same. I don't see anything stopping them from being one of the top 3 or 4 defenses in this league again.
Well, and the relative youth that they have on the defensive position, they are the youngest defense in the NFL and a relatively cheap defense because most of the guys are still on their rookie deals. But you're right. Listen, it's really, really hard to return as the best defense in the league. But, you know, it's 2 weeks. You still got 15 games left to play. They're 130 yards away from the Houston Texans, who have only given up 245, who, by the way, have only played 1 game.
Yes.
They play tonight, right? So some of these teams haven't played yet. The Raiders still play tonight. The Bucs still play tonight. That 375 will probably bounce a little bit further up when some of these teams take the field, you know, in the next 24 hours or so. I don't know if they become the number 1 defense for a second consecutive year, but I do think they're poised for another really strong year. And I think that they're probably not done building, right? He brings in Zadarius Smith. Speaking of Howie Roseman, brings in Zadarius Smith. They make some trades, you know, recently to get a Tank Bigsby or a John Mechie. I think they still have a lot of comp picks to use. They're not going to use them all. I wouldn't be stunned if Howie Roseman's not done, building this team.
I would be shocked if there's not at least one more trade made before the deadline. Like, that would actually surprise me if he doesn't bring in a corner, if he doesn't bring in an edge rusher, even some O-line depth. Like, it would be very surprising to me if he's like, we're set. All right, I want to talk about the offense on the other side, but we have to take our second commercial break. Whether your favorite team wins or not, there's always another way to win. On the BetParx online casino app, you got to check out brand new casino games like Huff N' More Puff and the BetParx exclusive Fireblaze Sky Queen. It's the only app I ever use to play all my favorite casino games right in the palm of my hand. And when I say all my favorites, I mean blackjack, roulette, craps, poker, baccarat, and hot online slots like Cash Eruption, 88 Fortunes, and Cleopatra. They've also got slots based on your favorite streaming shows like The Walking Dead and Peaky Blinders. And right now, new users can get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. All you got to do is go to betparx.com and download the app right now to enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You must be 21 and in PA, Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx. You love to play. You play to win. You bet. BetParx. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, how about our friends over at Cherry Hill Kia? If you're looking for a dealership with the most inventory and super low lease payments in the Philadelphia area, it's KiaofCherryHill.com. Choose from over 450 new Kias, including the Telluride, the Sportage, the K5, the Carnival, the Soul, the Central, whatever it might be. They have what you're looking for. And listen, it is the hottest automotive brand in the country for a reason. 7 of their models received a 2025 Car and Driver Editor Choice Award, which is incredible considering the fact that there are more than 450 models tested and only 20 models industry-wide receive this award. Combine that with the best warranty in the automotive business, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain, and 5-year, 60,000-mile bumper-to-bumper. Stop in today, tell them we sent you here at PHLY, and receive a $100 Restaurant.com gift card just for taking a test drive or completing a trade-in appraisal. I know people buy Kias elsewhere. I'm just not entirely sure why. Drive home in a new Kia today, just minutes from all bridges, and available online 24/7 at KiaofCherryHill.com.
Now, one thing I do think that has to be said about the offensive performance yesterday, Provolone John pointed it out right there. You had 2 defensive geniuses calling that game yesterday, and I know they have gotten the better of Spagnuolo, in a couple of Super Bowls, honestly. But you look back to that game a couple of years ago, the Super Bowl rematch in 2023. It was a lot like this game, a pretty good rock fight. You do have to give it a little bit to KC's defense, but the offense has some work to do. Now, Kansas City was definitely crowding the front, loading up to stop Saquon, as they should. Saquon's freaking awesome. And they were keeping a safety over the top a lot to kind of shadow A.J. Brown, taking away that big play option. But there just had to be something in between the crowded front and the deep safety trying to limit the big play. And I thought so much of the passing game kind of played into Kansas City's hands, where so many of the passes, the depth of target was 5-6 yards at the absolute most, right where the field was most crowded. A bunch of plays right at or behind the line of scrimmage. I'm a little concerned about the play calling right now. It could be as simple as listen, Kevin Patullo, it's his second game doing this. He is still figuring out what this group has, but even without Dallas Goedert in the lineup, this team has far too many weapons. You can't have one of the best receiving cores, one of the best running backs, the best O-line, and Jalen Hurts and do what you did on offense. I don't care what the play calls are. There just have to be more plays made. And this thing is just looking so conservative right now, Tyler. I don't really understand what they're doing. Maybe yesterday the best way to win the game was turn it into a rock fight, and we're going to be a little bit more conservative than usual. We're just not going to make the play that loses the game, and they didn't. They found the way to win. That is the most important thing, just like Jalen said at the end. When Chris Jones is barking at Saquon that he didn't even have 100 yards, and he told him, shut your ass up. We're winning the effing game. I get it, but it just feels like they're leaving plays on the field.
Well, yeah, I think so. And I think the one thing that I will say is there were a couple of times yesterday where he had like several seconds to scan the field and throw, and ended up either checking it down or throwing it away or making like, as you said, depth of throw being 5 or 6 yards. I don't know if that's a schematic thing. I don't know if that is truly just do not turn the ball over today. And if the one thing that we take away from today's game is protect the football and win the turnover battle, which I know Nick Sirianni preaches every single week, win the turnover battle, win the turnover battle, win the turnover battle. Maybe that's what this was. I think calling it a rock fight is probably a good, like, it was very knockdown, drag out, two good defenses, two good coordinators. They've been around the game for a while. There's no surprising them. Maybe that's what it was. Is there concern towards the route trees? Is there concern towards the productivity? I think you could certainly say that there might be. But at the end of the day, you're looking at a 2-0 team who, for the most part, when it mattered most, controlled what they needed to control.
Jalen is at 5.6 yards per attempt right now. That's 2 yards short of his average over the previous 4 seasons. He was at 8 yards per attempt in 2022 and 2024. They're throwing short of the sticks on third, and maybe that has something to do with, well, if we get it within a yard, it's basically a first down anyway. But I need to see a little bit more from this offense. I'm not going to say I'm concerned because there's just so much talent. I think they're going to get it together, but it seems like they're not taking advantage of all the weapons they have right now. I do want to shout out one of the weapons that has had as much to do with a 2-0 start as anybody, and it's Jake Elliott. Makes a 58-yarder against Dallas. He hits from 58 and 51 yesterday. 2-time Super Bowl champ, new long snapper, struggled from distance in the regular season last year, and he worked his ass off to get ready for the playoffs, and he's been, like I said, as big a reason as anybody that this team is 2-0. So got to shout out Jake Elliott. Rough regular season, especially on the 50-pluses last year, but he has been money this year. And listen, they're 2-0 with a point differential of +7.
Well,
that's the kicker right there.
And I will say one thing that I know my dad probably is listening right now. He's probably really excited for me to hear to say is he's a big proponent of if you go 17-0 with a +17 point differential, doesn't really matter how you get there, right? The win is the win. And I think when you had a kicker who really struggled from 50+ last year and from 55 and on specifically, to have him kind of settle back in is significant. You saw a lot of missed kicks in the first couple of weeks of the regular season.
I feel like every time I looked up at Red Zone, we were at a bar, the Irish Horn, for an event Ava was doing yesterday. Every time I looked up at Red Zone, someone was missing an extra point or a field goal.
Yeah, I think that it almost feels like there's a little bit of college kicker feel to it, right? We always make fun of college kickers because they routinely struggled to make the routine. Routine in the NFL now, I think Kyle Neubeck from the Sixers beat put up a really good tweet the other day. It was basically like, in our lifetime, has anything changed more than the distance that kickers is like natural for them now? Like when we were kids, going out to 52, 55 was like, whoa.
45 was like, all right, cross your fingers here. And 50+ was like, they're just saying, who's maybe, like a 57, 58 back in the day was like, that's what we think of like a 62 now. Like, oh yeah, like if he hits this, that's huge.
But you would think about like Janikowski, right? It was him. It was Elam before it. And then most recently, probably like you think about Justin Tucker, right? But now you got guys like Brandon Aubrey, who were failed MLS players. And he wanted to be, what was he, an accountant or a software engineer or something? And he goes to be that. And then his wife goes, hey, you could have made that kick. You should try out. And then he goes to the USFL, makes the team, gets the job with Dallas. And now, like, if we're being honest with ourselves, he might be the best kicker in football.
Yeah. He's got 2 64s in his career. Like, that's freaking insane. But it is like thinking back to, what was it, week 3 against the Giants in 2017 when Jake Elliott came in and hit the 61-yarder. Like, that basically turned their whole season around after they lost to Kansas City week 2. And then they, it looked like they were going to overtime against the freaking Giants. And that was, now it's like, oh yeah, 61. Guys try that all the time. At the time, it was like, yeah, and that was just a few years ago, man. All right, I do want to hit social studies real quick, just because I do think maybe this person has a point. We see this tweet yesterday from Phil Stiefel, who's got his own pod network and everything. He's pretty good. I like Phil. But he says, this is going to be a weird post. He's actually tired of the tush push, and he feels like maybe the play calling is too conservative because they know they have it in their pocket. And I did think on a couple of third downs yesterday, it was like, why are we running on third and long? Like, why are we running this give-up play? Why are we throwing short, like a couple yards short of the sticks on 3rd and 8 when, like, Jalen's best ball is a deep ball? The best thing he does is throw outside the numbers on 3rd and long. Like, why are we doing this, kind of handicapping ourselves? And I think he may have a point now. I'm not tired of the tush push because, one, everyone hates it, and that makes me happy. And 2, it is an automatic short yardage conversion. But do you think there might be something to, we know we have this, so we're going to be conservative elsewhere?
Maybe, but I will say this. You have a distinct advantage. You are the only team in the NFL that from a certain distance inward, which seems to go back further and further on the field every single year, from a certain distance inward, you pretty much start every new set of downs 1st and 9. Or you feel like you should be 1st and 9. So I understand it feels like maybe they're using that as a crutch to say if we get to 3rd and 3, we're fine, because if we get 2, we're getting 1. But I also think it's part of your game plan, right? It shouldn't feel like a negative to have a play in your back pocket to go, okay, well, if we get to 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1, like we're picking up the 1st down, our percentage numbers are going to be really, really good. I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing to have, or if you're getting, fatigue from the play. If your quarterback said, I don't like running it, it really hurts. My back hurts, my legs hurt, whatever. Maybe you have a conversation. But until that moment comes, I think you use this as an advantage to say from like your 40 on, you basically have 1st and 9.
From all of the rhetoric about the tush push this week, are you expecting them to try to officiate it out of the game? Like, yeah. I am expecting it to be flagged 3 times next week.
I'll be honest with you. John Marks and I talked about this a lot after the NFC Championship game. I expected it to be flagged out of the Super Bowl, like immediately, because Washington kind of made it was a farce, right? It became a joke. Washington was like, well, we'll just leap over you and you can get a half a yard and try it again, and maybe we'll strip the ball from you one time. Like Frankie Louvu made it a joke. Yeah. I'm surprised it didn't get officiated out of like the Super Bowl or at least the preseason. But yes, I do.
That's the craziest part to me is like everyone complaining about how like the center's lined up over the ball, the guards false start. Coaches go to the officials before every game and do their lobbying. I remember years ago, the Eagles went to before a primetime game against the Giants. They told the officials, when Eli does his little avoid a sack math throw, that is either grounding or a fumble. It's either grounding or a fumble. You have to call it one or the other. Like, if this is not an incomplete, this is not a legal play, you have to call it one or the other. And it got called like 4 times that game. Coaches lobby for this stuff every week, whatever the other team's tendency is, that they're getting away with something. I don't know how it already hasn't, quite honestly, considering there's screen grabs of it every single week. But I am very much expecting many, many flags thrown. All right, that is all the time we have for you on Philadelphia this week. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure you donate to Big Brothers Big Sisters. Do it right there, right below the chat box. They need your time. They need your money. It is a great cause. One-on-one mentorships to help the youth of tomorrow. Get in on it. Make yourself feel better. Donate. All right, that is it. Thank you to my producer, Tyler Zulli. I'm Bill Matz. Till tomorrow, be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.